Hey everybody, Jane here, and today I am actually going to do a two-part book review. I don't normally do that, but I just have a whole lot to say about this particular book. So this is part one, and it is the spoiler-free version. I'm going to be reviewing the book of the Unnamed Midwife. And I have to say, I didn't love this book. I'm just going to be upfront about it. I'll tell you all about it in a second. But just know going in that I was this is one of the worst reading experiences for myself that I've had this year. There are good things about this book. There really are, and I'm going to talk about them. But I think it wasn't quite what I expected. And it evoked a lot of strong feelings. So just be aware of that going in. This book is about a midwife who she's serving in a hospital working. There is a plague. Women who are having children are dying, the babies are dying, people are dying. And it wipes out like 98% of the population, like massive death. And this unnamed midwife survives the plague. And she keeps a journal as she goes around trying to give women birth control to prevent, unnecessary deaths in this new world that doesn't have adequate health care. I mean, it's very similar world-wise to Walking Dead. Like, there's just not a lot going on. There's no internet, there's no running water, there's no electricity. There's nothing. There are people running around stealing, crackers from Walmart. I mean, that is where we're at. And malls are abandoned except for when you go in to try to steal stuff. So, that's what this book is basically about. And I don't know if this is going to make sense. It felt a little bit like it was kind of written to tackle big social issues like the birth control availability to women right now that, has been in the news and has been a big deal. I believe this was, I'll find out. I think this was published in 2018 or 2016, I'm sorry. And 2014 and 2016 is when the copyright is. So again, I think it was intended to cover really important social issues, and a lot of people loved it. I looked at the reviews on Goodreads and Amazon, and a lot of people were fans. I wasn't, and it wasn't, let me be clear, it's not because I'm opposed to birth control. Birth control is great. Everybody who needs it should have availability and access to it, absolutely. And if this book helps that in any way, good for the book. The problems I had with the book actually were the writing and the style and the story. And again, this is the non-spoiler version of the reviews, so I'm going to be kind of vague here. If you want a little bit more detail, you'll want to come with me to the next section, which is the spoiler review. Problem number one. This book is written in multiple points of view. It's written firstly in the diary of the unnamed midwife, and we see that first page, basically. We're introduced to the book. These kids are going to be transcribing the journal diary of the unnamed midwife. And so we have her journal intermittently, but the whole thing's not told in her journal. We have like little excerpts from her journal, and then we have third person limited from kind of her perspective, although we never get to really be close to her. We don't know her name, and I had trouble relating to her. I thought she was very unlikable as a character for a lot of reasons. I couldn't get close to her at all. And that really disappointed me because I love midwife books. Like, I loved Go Call the Midwife. I love, like, if I see a character in a book as a midwife, that is totally what I'm into. I want to read that. My favorite mystery series, the Gaslight Mysteries by Victoria Thompson. That main character at least started out, she's a midwife, and that was part of the reason I picked up the series to begin with. I love midwives. And this person really wasn't kind of the stereotypical midwife I was expecting and wanting, and I didn't like her. So that was an issue with that. Also, you have scenes that are written in omniscient third person. So along with having the journal entries and then the limited third. For people who aren't writers, limited third means you're following what one person is doing in a scene. You don't know the future, you don't know the past, you are just kind of in the moment with that person. And the narrator is saying things like, she crept along the walkway and and she met Roger, or what your typical storytelling is these days. Omniscient isn't used very much, with good reason. It's a very far narrative. So omniscient is when we say stuff like, little did they know this was going to happen, and 10 years from now, Roger would look back and think of that moment, but right now, he isn't happy to be stopped, And then Jane looked up and she thought, hey, this guy is cute, but, he didn't think that she didn't like her the way that she liked him. Something where it's very much a narrator who is far back from the scene telling a story, and he knows everything. He knows the future, he knows the past, the narrator does, and what happened. So I didn't like the omniscient narration in this, because you have a lot of characters who the midwife meets along her path. And I kind of understand why the writer did what she did, because it was kind of like, we're not going to go back to those people, so how did their story turn out? And so she'd be like, basically, in case you're wondering what happened to these people, and then tell. And a lot of times it wasn't, it's a very depressing book, and I think it's meant to be. It is an apocalyptic book, and there's not a lot of hope, and it's like, a lot of the people that you like or connect to die. And often awfully. So it really just, that was rough. I didn't love that. It was a very dark, kind of sad book, and yes, there was hope at the end, but I had trouble. I had a real hard time with that. Another thing I didn't love as far as the storytelling goes, in the introductory chapter, the kids are transcribing the book of the Unnamed Midwife. And that kind of, to me, gave away a little bit of the end and took away some of the what's going to happen in the book. Because one of the big challenges in the book, or things that they're trying to figure out, is, will humans survive? Because this plague, and again, we learn this first couple pages, this plague kills women and children, pregnant women and babies. Almost 100%. Or it is 100%, I think, in the beginning. But, we don't really know. You're supposed to kind of wonder throughout the book, I would think, hey, is the human race going to survive? But if you have children transcribing the journal in the very first section you're told this, I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, is the human race doomed? What are they going to do when nobody can have babies? Because clearly somebody solved that problem. And to me, that just kind of took away some of the mystery of the book, maybe, or some of the, what's going to happen? So that was an issue to me. Another thing, and I'm going to touch on this a lot more in my next section with the spoilers, I felt that certain people were not well represented in the book. I didn't like the men in the book, the way that society happened, and I didn't feel that most men would react the way that reactions happened. I also, and this is only slightly spoilerish, so just slightly, she's in Utah at one point, and she runs into some Mormons, and I didn't feel like they were well represented. A lot of you know I grew up really conservative. I was Mormon growing up, and I am not active in the church now, but, I'm still my parents are Mormon, my kids are Mormon. I want to see accurate representation, and I didn't feel like that happened. I felt there was a lot of things that didn't work very well there. So definitely, if you're Mormon, this book is probably not for you, because of some of the content in it that I found a little bit offensive. And again, I'm not active Mormon, so if I was offended, it probably was it was a bit rough. But I'm going to talk about all that more in the spoiler review. So overall, for me, this book was about a 2.5 star, maybe a 3 star, out of 5. I really didn't like a lot of elements of it. I thought the world was good. I thought this would have made a great, like, TV series or movie. And I did like that she explored some of the social issues like birth control and, you know, the challenges women have from reproduction. Like, there were good things in there. I just felt like the good things were outweighed by the bad in some of the choices with storytelling. And as a reader, I didn't have a great experience in the world. I didn't enjoy a lot of what happened. I did read it all the way to the end, but I really struggled. I really, you know, I wanted to see what happened, but I was kind of like, oh, do I have to do this? Um, so if you really like apocalyptic novels, if you like The Walking Dead and are also like concerned about women's issues, it's worth reading. But I didn't really enjoy it as a story. I didn't really, I didn't feel fulfilled by it, and I didn't like the character. Um, I like The Handmaid's Tale a lot better. So if you like that kind of story, you know, maybe go read The Handmaid's Tale instead, because it covers some of the same issues, but, you know, with characters that I thought were a lot more fun and easy to relate to. All right, guys, I would love to hear your comments. Did you like the book if you've read it? Did you dislike it? Do you agree with what I'm saying, or did you have a completely different reader experience? If you enjoyed this video, please like, and if you want more content, please subscribe to my channel. Thanks, guys. Bye.